This is a true story. It happened to a friend of mine. It surely did. Sweet Lucy Feeney, known all over the county for the yumminess of her strawberry cream pies, which she was delivering to the Little Sisters of Charity in her Pie-mobile when she heard the wail of a siren. Lucy looked into her mirror to see the flashing red lights of the town's only police car and pulled over to the side of the road. Poor dear actually trembled as Officer Benny waddled over, and without so much as a howdy-do, and even before poor Lucy could say a word, Officer Benny launched into one of his ridiculous tirades that he always delivered with a ticket. I know 1 eensy-teensy mile might not seem like a lot to you, but that's how it always begins, and before you know it, you're tearing up the road like it was some sort of speed car race. Fortunately for old Lucy, a fighter jet from that nearby Air Force base zoomed overhead and drowned out the rest of Officer Benny's hot air. But if there's one thing you could say for Officer Benny, he sure didn't play favorites. Take the time he was ticketing the mayor's car. When His Honor came running out of the barber shop, his face still covered with lather, he shouted, "What do you think you're doing?" And Officer Benny said, "Giving you a ticket for parking in the red. You should know better than that, Mr. Mayor." To which the mayor replied, "But I parked in front of the red, not in it." And wouldn't you know it, Officer Benny whipped out his magnifying glass and sure enough showed the mayor his tires were exactly 1 inch inside the red. And 1 inch may not seem like much, Mr. Mayor, but if every car in the world did that, you'd have yourself a real parking problem. Fortunately for the mayor, too, that fighter jet zoomed overhead again, drowning out the rest of Officer Benny's lecture. Then came Black Tuesday, the day Officer Benny was issued the first radar gun in the county. He quickly became known as Radar Benny, which made his head swell up like a watermelon and his brain shrink like a pea. No one was safe anymore, not even Reverend Jones, who was pulled over for going 1/10 a mile over the bicycle speed limit. Might not seem like a thou shalt not to you, Reverend, but if every bicycle in the universe did that, it would equal the speed of light. And what made it even worse, for some reason the fighter jet wasn't flying that day, and the poor Reverend had to hear every single word of Radar Benny's never-ending sermon. But it seemed it was dear Lucy Feeney and her Pie-mobile that took the brunt of Radar Benny's crusade. Pulled over once again, she pleaded, "But I was only going 9 miles an hour." And Radar Benny responded, reading his radar gun, 8.3 to be exact, which is 1.7 slower than the legal speed limit. If every car in our solar system went that slow, blah, 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 blah. All the while, Lucy looked sadly to the sky, praying for the friendly jet to reappear. And from that time on, no matter how carefully Lucy Feeney drove to deliver her yummy strawberry cream pies to some worthy charity, Radar Benny was always on her tail, forcing her to pull over. But one time, Radar Benny waddled toward her, triggering his radar gun like Jesse James shooting bullets into the air, when the fighter jet suddenly reappeared. And inside the cockpit, the radar detector began to blink. It zeroed in on the radar blips coming from Radar Benny's gun. There wasn't much the pilot could do, those planes being so automated and all. It mistook Benny's gun to be enemy radar, and the detector automatically fired a rocket. Hearing the eerie whine, Radar Benny looked up to see the missile heading straight at him, clocked it at 903 miles per hour. He turned a running as fast as his stubby legs could carry him, but they were no match for the rocket. This is a true story. It happened to a friend of mine. As for Radar Benny, he traded in his radar gun for a cushy seat in the Pie-mobile, where he now delivers Lucy Feeney's yummy strawberry cream pies, while keeping a very close eye on the speedometer.